Alhamdulillah, we've gathered for the remembrance of Allah and His Messenger, and we've gathered to remember a man who struggled for us, who taught us, a man who was merciful, a man who was quite literally the best of creation in all senses and in all ways. And we're here to remember him, and for no other reason but to get closer to him, and to really try and taste some of that nur, and to taste some of that divine sweetness that he was given. SubhanAllah. Sayyidi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was a man who was quite literally perfection and pure beauty. And inshallah, today we want to taste some of that.
Inshallah.
So we're going to recite the Burda by Imam Busiri, written in love and praise of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى آله مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم آمن تذكر جيران به سلام ماذا اشتدى عن جراب مكلة بدم أم حبة الريح من تلقاء كاظمة وأومض البرق في الظلماء بين عظام مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم فما لعينيك إن قلت فهمت وما لقلبك إن قلت استغفر يهيمي أيحسب الصب أن الحب منكتم ما بين منسجم منه ومضطرم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم لولا الهوى لم ترك دمعا على ضلال ولا رابقة لذكر الباني والعلم فكيف تنكر حبا بعدما شهدت به عليك عدود الضمع والسقم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم وحسبة وجد خطي عبرة وذانا مثل البهار على خديك والعنم نعم سرى طيف من أهوى فأرقني والحب يقترض اللذات بالألم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم يا نائمي في الهوى الغريب معذرة مني إليك ولو أنصفت لم تلومي عادتك هالي لا سري بمستتر عن الوشاة ولا ضعيف منحسم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم ما هتاني
وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم.
اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى آله. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. فإن أمرت بالسوء ما استعاذت من جهلها بنذير الشيب والهرم، ولا أعدت من الفعل الجميل قرى ضيف على ما برأسي غير محتشم. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. لو كنت أعلم أني ما أوقره كتمت سرا بدا لي منه بالكتم. من لي برد جماه من غواياتها كما يرد جماه الخيل باللجوم. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. فلا ترم بالمعاصي كسر شهواتها، إن الطعام يقوي شهوة الناهم. والنفس كالطفل إن تهمله شبع على حب الرضاع، وإن تفتنه ينفطم. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. فاصرف هواها وهاجر عن توليه، إن الهوى ما تولى يسمي أو يسمي. وراعيها وهي في الأعمال سليمة، وإن هي استهلت المرعى فلا تسم. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. كم حسنت لذة للمرء قاتلة من حيث لم يدري أن السم في الدسم. واشتد عيسى من جوع ومن شبع، فربما مصة شر من التخم. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. واشتد عيسى من جوع ومن شبع، فربما مصة شر من التخم. واستفرغ الدمع من عين القادم تلأت من المهارم، والذبح مئة نادم. وخالف النفس والشيطان وعسيهما، وإنهما ما هداك النصح فاتهم. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. ولا تطع منهما خصما ولا حكما، فأنت تعرف كيد الخصم والحكم. أستغفر الله من قول بلا عمل، لقد نسبت به نسلا لذي حكم. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. عملتك الخير لكن ما تمر به وما استقام inshallah, say this man's and inshallah after chapter 5 he's going to give a short nasiha. And he's got 2 chapters to work out what to say. He once gave a talk for an hour, and before he started the talk he said, I didn't prepare for it at all. So I know that he has the capability to do it. Just 5 minutes inshallah. Alhamdulillah, this week we're going to try, we're going to read a few chapters. And when we read chapters, a traditional way of doing it, from what I know, is every second line, everybody will chip in and say Sallallahu wa sallim alayhi. And if you want and if you can, then read the line before we say Sallallahu wa sallim alayhi. So for example, in chapter 3, I'll read the first 3 lines, and then at تحت الهجارة كشها مطرف العدم, everybody, for what you can sing, for what you can read, chip in, inshallah. And we'll try it out, and if it doesn't work, then we won't do it again. And if it does, then alhamdulillah. In any case, I've got a sore throat, so it makes it easy. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. ظلمت سنة من أهيا الظلام إلى أن اشتكت قدمه الضر من ورمي، وأشد من سغب أهشاه وطوى تحت الحجارة كشها مترف العدم. صلى الله وسلم. وراودته الجبال الشم من ذهب عن نفسه فأراها أيما شمم، وأكدت زهده فيها ضرورته، إن الضرورة لا تعدو على العصام. صلى الله وسلم عليه. وكيف تدعو إلى الدنيا ضرورة من لولاه لم تخرج الدنيا من العدم. محمد سيد الكونين والثقلين والفريقين من عرب ومن عجم. صلى الله وسلم عليه. نبينا الآمر النهي فلا أحد أبر في قول لا منه ولا نعم. هو الحبيب الذي ترجى شفاعته لكل حول من الأهوال مقتحم. صلى الله وسلم عليه. دعا إلى الله فالمستمسكون به مستمسكون بحبل غير منفصم. فقنبين في خلق وفي خلق ولم يدانه في علم ولا كرم. صلى الله وسلم عليه. وكلهم من رسول الله ملتمس غرفا من البحر أو رشفا من الديام، وواقفون لديه عند حدهم من نقطة العلم أو من شكلة الحكم. صلى الله وسلم عليه. فهو الذي تم معناه وصورته ثم اصطفاه حبيبا بارئ النسم، منزه عن شريق في محاسنه فجوهر الحسن فيه غير منقسم. صلى الله وسلم عليه. دامضته النصارى في نبيهم واهكم بما شئت مدحا فيه واحتكمي، وانسب إلى ذاته ما شئت من شرف، وانسب إلى قدره ما شئت من عظام. صلى الله وسلم عليه. فإن فضل رسول الله ليس له حد فيعرب عنه ناتق بفمي، لو نسبت قدره آياته عظاما أهي اسمه حين يدعى دارس الرمام. صلى الله وسلم عليه. لم يمتهن بما تعي العقول به حرصا علينا فلم نرتب ولم نهم، عيا الورى فهم معناه فليس يرى في القرب والبعد فيه غير منفحم
صلى الله وسلم عليه.
الشمس تظهر للعينين من بعد صغيرة وتكل الطرف من أمامي، وكيف يدرك في الدنيا حقيقته قوم نيام تسلوا عنه بالحلم
صلى الله وسلم عليه.
فمبلغ العلم فيه أنه بشر وأنه خير خلق الله كلهم، وكل آية أتى الرسل الكرام بها فإنما اتصلت من نوره بهم
صلى الله وسلم عليه.
فإن شمس فضل هم كواكبها يظهرن أنوارها للناس في الظلم، أكرم بخلق نبي زنه خلق بالحسن مشتمل بالبشر متسم
صلى الله وسلم عليه.
كالزهر في ترف والبدر في شرف والبهر في كرم والدهر في همم، كأنه وهو فرد في جلالته في عسكر حين تلقاه وفي هشم
صلى الله وسلم عليه.
كأنما اللؤلؤ المكنون في صدف من معدن منطق منه ومبتسم، لا تب يعدل تربا ضم أعظمه طوبى لمنتشق منه وملتثم
صلى الله وسلم عليه.
مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى آله. Okay. We're going to try another thing that's new. Just 1 second. So there was a Sheikh Mustafa Azam as a scholar, and he is a scholar of the Arabic language, and he wrote a singable version of the Burda. So what did he do? He translated every line of the Burda in a poetic meter that could be sung just like any normal chapter could. So, yes, you're listening. So, for example, in our book, the person who translates only makes the first line singable. So in our book we say مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. We can sing it, we can say, "Oh my Lord, bless and grant peace always and forever upon your beloved one, the best of all creation." So it goes in poetic meter. So Sheikh Mustafa Azam wrote a singable translation that anyone can sing using the same poetic meter as the rest of the Burda. And so we thought it'd be a good idea for all of the girls to come up and to have their own little session, inshallah. Okay, yes.
Oh, cheeky. Next time. Produce this here. Where did you get this book from? You want to go from some shop? You like a copy? Yeah. Keep it. Present from us.
If you ask me, I think that was quite impressive.
Yeah, very good.
Very good.
One practice session.
One practice session, well, 5 minutes of practice.
Oh,
Well done.
Mashallah, next time again, yes?
Inshallah, next time we'll have more time to practice and you can do it even better, right? Cool.
We're in chapter 5 now.
Unfortunately, Sidi Noman normally sings this tune, but he's not on. So inshallah, may God that he gets back. Ameen. La ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, wahdahu la sharika lah. جاءت لدعوته الأشجار ساجدة تمشي إليه على سقف بلا قدم كأنما سطرت سطرا لما كتبت فروعها من بديع الخط باللقب الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له مثل الغمامة أن سار سائرة تقيها وقديس للهجير حبيب أقسمت بالقمر المنشق إلا له من قلبه نسبة مبرورة القسم الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وما هوى الغار من خير ومن كرم وكل طرف من الكفار عنه عمي فصدق في الغار والصديق لم يرما وهم يقولون ما بالغار من عارم الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ظن الحمام وظن العنكبوت على خير البرية لم تنسج ولم تهم وقاية الله أغنت مضاعفة من الضرور وعن أذ من العطر لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له مسحني الدهر غير واستجبت به إلا ونلت جوارا منه لم يذم ولا التمست بين الدرين بيده إلا استلمت ندى بخير مستلم الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له لا تنكر الوحي من رؤيانها إن له قلبا إذا نامت العينان لم ينم ولا كهين بلوغ من نبوة لا اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى آله. Qasidah Al-Burdah was the founder of this event, and it started a long time ago, and went on for how many years?
Ready to count. SubhanAllah.
How many years? 6 years. 6 years it went on. So he's well versed. He knows everyone, and alhamdulillah, a 10-minute speech shouldn't be too difficult.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad فاتح لما أغلق وخاتم لما صادق ناصر الحق بالحق وهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم وعلى آل حق قدره مقدار عظيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. I think most of us are aware of Imam Busidi's life. But we should be able to take some lessons from his early life and what happened to Imam Busidi. Alayhi Rahma. As you know, from a young age, he really had a difficult life, Imam Busidi. You know, he came from a poor family. He had difficult at work, so you can really relate to this. Had a difficulty with his colleagues at work, and he had a difficult time with his wife, a lot of children, and he was going through a lot of problems. Imam Busidi, alayhi rahmah. And then what happens is that, as you all know, that it got so much that he actually had a stroke. And he says himself, Imam Busidi, that half of his body could not move. He was unable to move. So he couldn't work. He couldn't bring any income in. He saw the children running around at home. A lot of pressure for Imam Busidi. And then one day his friends were sitting with him. And because Imam Busidi was a master of the Arabic language, they said to him, one of his friends said to him, why don't you compose something like a wasila, bijai Sayyidina Rasul, by using the Prophet as a means to reach the door of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he said, would that work? And they said, well, whoever goes to the door of the Prophet never goes back empty-handed. So Imam Busidi, he composes the poem, and as you all know, he has a dream, and in the dream, Ja'a Sayyidina Rasul, the Prophet comes in, alayhi salatu wa salama, and he comes with his burda, he comes with his shawl, and he wraps his shawl at the part where he had a stroke. And then what happens, as you know, Imam Busidi, he wakes up in the morning and he starts to walk. And he goes straight outside the house, and when he's going outside the house, he meets a man who he didn't know. And the man said to him, I want to hear that Qasida that you wrote. And because Imam Busidi had written many poems, he said, which one are you talking about? He said, the one that you recited last night to the Prophet. And Sayyidina Muhammad was moving like this, how trees move. And that's how it spread. But it's very interesting because taking it back home, the Burda in itself, just the word Burda, is actually a sign of acceptance and honor. When you've been given a Burda by the Prophet is a sign that it is honor. Allah has honored you, and it is a sign of acceptance. So how can we relate this back to us? Many of us are afflicted by a spiritual stroke. We're in the same situation. We haven't moved. Like Imam Busri said, he couldn't move. And many of us, year in, year out, have been afflicted by a spiritual stroke. Same issues in the mind, same problems, the same way we look at things. We're not moving forward. So how do you move forward? How do you get yourselves out of this spiritual stroke? Well, you take the method that's been used by Imam Busiri. That you use Sayyidina Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam as a way to get yourselves out of this state. It's a proven medicine. So the Qasidah Burdah, the Burda itself, not the Qasida, but just the sign of Burda is really interesting because as you all know, it goes back to also a man called Ka'b ibn Zuhair. What used to happen, there were some people who did not say very nice things about Sayyidina Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam. And they were on the hit list. Literally, they were actually on the hit list. And so Zuhair had a friend, a brother, Ka'b had a brother who wrote a letter to him and said, look, you know, the Prophet is very merciful. Go to him in Medina, ask for forgiveness, he'll forgive you. Okay? So Ka'b, he travels all the way to Medina and it's Fajr time. So when he arrives, it's Fajr time and Sayyidina Muhammad is standing up to lead the prayer. Ka'b comes and he joins the Jamaat, he joins the prayer. After he finishes the prayer, Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he's sitting down and Ka'b goes and sits and he places his hands in the hands of Sayyidina Rasul sallallahu alaihi and he says to him as a third person, he said, Ya Rasulullah, if Ka'b was here and asked for forgiveness, would you forgive him? He said, Naam, I'll forgive him. He said, Ya Rasulullah, ana Ka'b. I am Ka'b. And then Sayyidina Muhammad forgave him. And then so out of khushi, out of happiness, Ka'b stands up and does a poem praising the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And as he praises him, Sayyidina Muhammad takes his burda. He takes his burda and he throws it upon him as a sign of what? Acceptance and honor. Right? That's what it is. Later on, there was a battle of Hunayn, and the Muslims had about 6,000 prisoners. And amongst them was an old woman, a really old woman. And she came up to one of the companions and said, Ana ukht ashabukum. I am the sister of your Prophet. And the Sahaba were like, they, you know, okay, so they take her with honor to Sayyidina Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam. So they take her to Sayyidina Rasul sallallahu alayhi and she says to him, Ya Rasulullah, I am your sister. And he says, what's your proof? Like, alamat, what's the sign? And then she showed a small bite. She said, Ana bint Halima. I am the daughter of Halima. And so Halima, as you know, Lady Halima, she was the wet nurse of the Prophet ﷺ, and she had a daughter called Shayma. And Shayma used to look after the Prophet when she was young. Okay? And she used to play with the Prophet ﷺ and take her out and, you know, keep him clean and keep him shaded and so on. And she said, I am your sister from that. And Sayyidina Muhammad wept. And he took out his burda. He took out his burda, he stood up and he put it on the floor to honor her. And he gave her gifts after gifts. And then he asked her, Kif Halima? How's Halima? And she said, she's passed away. And he go, how's your father? He's passed away. So it comes down to she was honored, and then what happened? She becomes a Muslim. She becomes a Muslim by the barakah of the Burda. So what was it again? The Burda was what here? As a sign of what? Of honor and acceptance. In Makkah there was a young man. There were people, they were very poor, and they were actually idol worshippers. And their father had passed away. And so he saw the clothes his mother was wearing, and they were not in a good state. So he felt really bad. So what he does, he says to his mother, I'm going to go and ask our uncle, meaning the brother of their father, for some clothes for you. She said, don't go, don't go, don't go. She said, no. I'm going to go. So he goes all the way to the house of his uncle, asking for clothes for his mother. And he turns them away. Okay? And he felt really like, a proper bestie, So he turns around, he walks away. And as he walks away, he sees a man, and the man goes, what's wrong? What's wrong? He said, oh, we're very poor, but before so he said, I went to my uncle and, asking for clothes for my mother, and, he said, look, go to a man near the Kaaba, he sits there, his name is Muhammad. Go to him and he will give something for your mother. So what this man does, he goes to his mother first. He says, Mom, there's a man called Muhammad. Uncle said no to us, but there's a man called Muhammad and he will give something. She said, no. If you go to him, you lose your religion. He will take your religion away. And he said, no, I will not lose my faith. Don't you worry. So he goes all the way there, and he sees the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he says, Ya Rasulullah, Ya Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He says, look, we're in a very difficult situation, and I just need something from my mother. Sayyidina Muhammad gives him his Burda. He gives the Burda and said, this is for you. But I won't become Muslim. He said to his Prophet, I won't become Muslim. I'll take this, but I'm not going to become Muslim. So he turns around and goes back to his mother, and she goes, this is for Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And she says to him, did you take his religion? And he goes, no. You should take his religion. You should take his religion. And they both became Muslims. This is the way of our deen. And we want to inherit this Burda. We want to inherit the Burda of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, that we can also pass on this Burda to others. The way of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi is khair ala khair, nur ala nur, that you only open doors for other people. So always try to make people happy. Before I finish there's a chapter, the second chapter. You see, we're all Pakistanis here. Are we all Pakistanis here? No. This is only for, I thought this is only for Pakistani club. Okay. Oh yeah, of course. Sorry. It's to understand this line from chapter 2 from Imam Busiri. It's quite deep, but it's very powerful, it's beautiful. But because we are Pakistanis, and because he was an Arab, when you say this, it's very easy to understand. You see, amongst the Arabs and amongst the Pakistanis, it's an honor if when someone comes to your house as a guest, you want to honor them. Yes or no? Right? So you're gonna, and this is like, if you don't honor them, it's gonna be besties. It's gonna it's like shame, right? Especially for the Arabs and for the Pakistanis, for example, you can relate to this, So when you know a guest is coming, you will present whatever you have, and you're gonna make your 18 dishes and so on. You're gonna really honor the guest, The more you give, the better you feel, right? But how would you feel? How would you feel if a guest turns up, and a very important guest turns up at your home, and you have nothing to give? You have nothing to give at all. Now if you ask, and I asked this question to my Arab friend, and they said, Wallahi akhi, this is terrible. If an important guest came, and not even important, if anyone came to your house and you give them nothing, this is like, oh my God. Yeah, am I correct? Would same with Pakistanis, yeah? That you will feel really bad, yeah? And you feel bad now, wouldn't you? That you will feel bad. So Imam Busiri, look at this. He says, subhanAllah, so we will feel bad if a guest turns up and we have nothing to give. So Imam Busiri says, guests have come upon my head and I have nothing to give them. In other words, white hairs have turned up on my head and I have no good deeds to give them. Guests have come. Who are they? Your white hair. And he said, even if I knew that the guests were coming, I would at least dye them. dye my hair, you know. So inshallah Allah give us that khair and iftah alaykum, you know, bija'i haqqi Sayyidina Rasul. Allah give you many openings, inshallah ta'ala. Bless you. And you know, this little brother here, actually he's like a son to me. I went to a wedding and they said to me, is this your son? Yes, he is my son. And everyone, from the Malaysian wedding we went to, is this your son? Yeah, and this is really one of our great du'as that are accepted, that we can have these type of gatherings, but look who's running the show. This is what we need. So we need more children to be over here, and people like ourselves are just old and we're just stepping away. But mashallah, you know, Ibrahim, mashallah, the himmah he has, that means the zeal he has, mashallah, this is all barakah. You know, it's nothing to do with his parents, it's to do with me. So inshallah ta'ala, bismillah habibi, carry on, bismillah, alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
Inshallah, chapter 6, it's page 36, right? Page 36. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم دعني ووصفي آيات له ظهرت ظهورنا للغرى ليلا على عالمي فالدور يزداد حسنا وهو منتظم وليس ينقص قدرا غير منتظم مولاي صل وسلم دائما ابدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم فمتى تعود اعمال المليء ما فيه من كرم اخلاق والشيم فتحقق من الرحمن محدثة قديمة صفة الموصوف بالقدم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم لم تقترن بزمان وهي تخبرنا عن المعاني وعن عظم دامت علينا ففاقت لا معجزة من المريء عيد جاءت ولم تدم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم ما حكم لطف ما يبطين من شغل لذي شقاق وما يبغين من حكم ما هربت قط إلا عاد من هرب عهد عليها يا سلمي مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم ردت بلاغة الدعوة ومعارضها رد الخيال ينجني عن الهرم لها معان كموج البحر في مدد وفوق جوهر في الحسن والإيجاد مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم فما تعد ولا تحصى عجائبها ولا تسمى على يقم لا تعجبا لحسود راها ينكرها تجاهلا وهو غير صادق الفاهم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم قد تنكر العين ضوء الشمس من رمد وينكر الفم دام الماء من سقم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى آله. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم صلى الله عليه يا خير من يمنى المال عفونا ساعده سير وفوق مطون عنق الرسم صلى الله عليه ومن هو الآية كبرى للمعتبرين ومن هو النعمة والغى للمغتنم صلى الله عليه سريت من حرمين ليلا إلى حرمين كما سر البدر فيه تاج من الظلم صلى الله عليه وبالتدرق إلى أن نلت منزلة من قرب قوسين تدرك ولم ترمي صلى الله عليه وقد يصلي وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم صلى الله عليه وقدمت كجميع والأنبياء بها ورسل تقديم مخدوم على خدمي صلى الله عليه وأنت تخترق سبع طباق به في موكب كنت فيه في صحيح العالم صلى الله عليه حتى إذا لم تنام شهوة المستبقين من الذنوب ولا مرضى لمستلم صلى الله عليه خافت كل مقام بالإضافة نوديت بالرفع للمفرد العالمي صلى الله عليه مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم صلى الله عليه كما تفوز بوصل أي مستترين عن العيون وسير أي مكتتم صلى الله عليه فهزت كل فخار غير مشتركين وجزت كل مقام غير مزدهم صلى الله عليه وجل مقدار ما وليت من رتب وعز إدراك ما وليت من عظم صلى الله عليه مشمل سل وسلم دائما أبدا على وبارك عليه وعلى آله. We're going to read a chapter in English. And I think next time, inshallah, if we can, we'll get the English and we'll put it on the screen so that everybody can follow along. But inshallah, I want feedback on how it goes. If you like it, then let me know, and if you don't like it, then let me know, so that we can improve for next time, inshallah.
We'll let you know.
I don't want like an essay of criticisms.
Don't worry.
Not like our Arabic lessons. Our Arabic lessons were just a lecture of. Alhamdulillah, I'm not too bad now. Constructive feedback. Oh my Lord, bless and grant peace always and forever upon our beloved one, the best of all creation. The gentlest of souls, until the enemy forced the fight, abusing him and all his companions so brutally. The many years of their torture, murder and tyranny he chose to bear and endure, and those with him patiently. Their only crime being that they called to God and him alone, an invitation delivered by them all peacefully, until the order of God came down to him, the command, if they keep fighting your call, now fight them back physically. Though tenderness and compassion are your nature, we know the time has come. You must stop their stopping people from me. And when it came to the rights of God, the gentle were fierce and struck all horror into the heart of each enemy. The news of his being sent alarmed the hearts of the foes, just like a roar causing heedless sheep to startle and flee. He kept courageously facing them at each battlefield, till they were butchered by spears like meat in a butchery. They longed to flee, so much that they watched the parts carried off by buzzards and vultures in a state of near jealousy. The nights would pass with them unaware the number of them, except the nights of the sacred months of tranquility. As if religion had been a guest arrived at their yard, with every nobleman craving meat of the enemy, it brought an ocean of troops on gracefully floating steeds, advancing waves made of heroes surging successively. In each response to the call of God in hope of reward, attacking armed to uproot and shatter idolatry, until the faith of Islam, with them among it, became, once having been foreign, now a unified family. Protected forever from them by the best father and best husband, so not an orphan or a widow is she. They are the mountains, so ask them about their battle foe. At every battle, from them the things that they used to see. And ask Hunayn, question Badr and even Uhud too. Events of death for them worse than plague and catastrophe. Returning white blades now turn to crimson after they reach the fighters with flowing hair of black from the enemy. Inscribing with spears of lettering their pens didn't leave, a body with undotted I and crossed every T. With sharpened weapons they had a mark to set them apart. A rose is set by its mark apart from a thorny tree. The victory winds convey to you the sweet news of them. So flowers in blue you'd reckon every soldier to be. They were on horseback like firmly rooted plants up on hills, from grit to solid, not girth of saddle held solidly. The enemy's hearts were fluttering in fear of their foe, unable to tell a lamb apart from brave cavalry. Whoever is aided by the messenger of Allah, if lions meet him in the woods, they bow silently. You will not see any saint that isn't victorious. Through him nor any opponent not destroyed utterly. If he put his nation to dwell inside the fort of his faith, like lions dwelling inside the forest with progeny. How often the words of God refuted the quarrelsome. About him, he often proof defeated the enemy. Enlightenment in one unread is wonder enough. in the age of darkness and good upbringing in orphancy. O my Lord, bless and grant peace always and forever upon your beloved one, the best of all creation. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik alayhi wa sallam.
Sheikh Muhammad Bashir just mentioned about this, remember, about the lion. There used to be a man in Africa, he was walking once and he was faced by a lion and he forgot the verse of the Burda. So he said, Burda hai. The lion turned away. MashaAllah. You want to pass me one? Yeah, sure. That's the one. Can't be more possible.
It's Ayaz, man. Ayaz is not here.
Ayaz is not here. I think he's working.
Ayaz is the one.
Which one you used so far?
We've done maybe again 9 with the Pakistani.
The one we used to do for we can try. You want that one?
That doesn't go.
Or you can try. What have you got? You got a boxing one?
There's too many words.
Go
in
for
there.
it. Boxing.
مولاي صل.
No, that's not it.
وسلم دائما عبادا على.
No, that's not it.
That's what it is.
No, there's a different one. The one that I asked.
Which different
That is
Pakistani?
that one.
See, I
That is
asked
that
because I couldn't remember.
This
it.
is Sonic Boxing.
No, no.
No, that's not it. No, that's not it. That's wrong.
That's what I was doing.
That's
That's how it was.
مولاي صل وسلم
دائما
أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. ظلمته أستقيل به ذنوب عمر مضى في الشعر والخدم. إذ قد بداني ما تخشى عواقبه كأنني به مهي من النعم. أتعت غير السبا في الحلقتين وما حسنت إلا على العذاب والندم. فيا خسارة نفس في تجارتها لم تشتري الدين بالدنيا ولم تسمي. ومن يبيع عاجلا منه بعاجله يبله الغبن في بيع وفي سلم. إن عدلا فما عدي بمنتقد من النبي ولا حبل بمنصرم. فإن لي ذمة منه بتسميتي محمدا وهو أوفى الخلق بالذمم. إن لم يكن في معادي آخذا بيدي فضلا وإلا فقل يا زلة القدم. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. هالشهر ولم أرد زهرة الدنيا التي قد تفت يا زهير بما أثنى على هذه مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى آله. This one everybody said was their favorite, which means you all better sing. Right? مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. يا أكرم الخلق ما لمن ألوذ به سواك عند حلول الحديث العالمي ولن يليق رسول الله جاءك به الكريم متحلى باسم منتقم. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. فإن من جودك الدنيا ودارتها ومن علومك علم اللوح والقلم. يا نفس لا تملكي من زلتي عزمت إن الجبائر في الغفران كالأمام. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. لعل رحمة ربي هنا يقسمها تأتي على حسب العصيان في القسم. يا ربي واجعل رجائي غير منعكس لديك واجعل وسعدي غير منقلب. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. والطف بعهدك في الدارين إن له صبرا متى تدعوه الأهوال للحزم. وعدا بسرعة صلاة منك دائمة على النبي بمنحل ومنسجم. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. مرنا تغابت البانير مصابا وأترابا لسهاد ليس بالنغم. ثم رضا عن أبي بكر وعن عمر وعن علي وعن عثمان ذي الكرم. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. وآل والصحب ثم التابعين فهم على التقى والنقى والعلم والكرم. يا ربي بالمصطفى بلغ مقاصدنا واغفر لنا ما مدى يا واسع الكرم. يا ربي بالمصطفى بلغ مقاصدنا واغفر لنا ما مدى يا واسع الكرم. يا ربي بالمصطفى بلغ مقاصدنا واغفر لنا ما مدى يا واسع الكرم. واغفر لكل المسلمين بما يتلون في المسجد الأقصى وفي الحرم. بجاه من بيته في تيمم الحرم واسمه قسم من عزم الأيصان. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. وهذه بردة المختار قد قدمت والحمد لله في بلع وفي القدم. أبياتها قد أتت 60 مع 100 فوج بها كربلا يا وسع الكرم. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. يا ربي بالمصطفى بلغ مقاصدنا واغفر لنا ما مدى يا واسع الكرم. يا ربي بالمصطفى بلغ مقاصدنا واغفر لنا ما مدى يا واسع الكرم. يا ربي بالمصطفى بلغ مقاصدنا واغفر لنا ما مدى يا واسع الكرم. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى آله. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله عدد كمال الله وكما يليق بكماله. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على أسعدنا محمد وعلى آله عدد كمال الله وكما يليق بكماله. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على نور الهدى محمد وعلى آله عدد كمال الله وكما يليق بكماله. جزا الله عنا سيدنا محمدا صلى الله عليه وسلم الله أهله. جزا الله عنا سيدنا محمدا صلى الله عليه وسلم الله أهله. جزا الله عنا سيدنا محمدا صلى الله عليه وسلم الله أهله. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. الفاتحة.
فاتنا لسيدنا وحبيبنا وشفينا رسول محمد بن عبد الله صلى الله عليه وصحبه وسلم بأن الله يؤتي درجات في الجنة بإسرارهم وأنوارهم وعلومهم ونفحاتهم في دينه والدنيا والآخرة. اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا محمد بلسان جامعتي في الحضرة واسعة صراط تموت بها جسمي من جسمي وقلبي من قلبه وروحي من روحي وسري من سره تعود بركاتها وأسرارها وعلينا وعلى شيوخنا وعلى قلوبنا وعلى أرواحنا وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. والحمد لله رب العالمين. الفاتحة. بسم الله.
Jazakallah khair for coming. Another successful Burda.
Mother.
Didn't hear what you said.
You said you forced him to come. But we didn't force you to come. There's consequences if you didn't. But seriously, Jazakallah khair for coming. And inshallah, this is if you haven't been before, it's a monthly event. We run every month, and Meem is we run events on Fridays. Our main events are on Fridays. We have a halakah, which is on the first Friday of every month. Please try to attend. Next month, inshallah, Mufti Muhammad ibn Adam and Kawthari is coming, and it's a similar format to this. We set the room up. We have Surah Yasin followed by a few chapters of the Burda and a talk by the Shaykh. On the second Friday of the month, for the men, we have our foodies group. We choose a restaurant and we go and eat, pure and simple. No strings attached. Whatever the bill comes to, we split it, alhamdulillah. So that's the second Friday. And the third Friday is our Burda. So please try to attend as many events as you can. Importantly, on each Friday, we have food served. So alhamdulillah, please stay afterwards for the food. There's quite a lot of it, so you're going to have to help us finish it. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.